Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. If you're regular here, you know by now I review many photographic, audio and video related products. Well, today we're looking at a new camera by Sony, and it is the Sony ZV-E10. And Sony, as with all manufacturers, they do like to name their cameras in a bizarre way. But here it is, the ZV-E10. I've actually got fitted to it the Zeiss, the Sony Zeiss 16-70 f4 lens. And I've fitted this one because I love the image quality that comes off this lens. It is an APS-C crop sensor lens, so it is designed for the Sony E-mount crop sensor bodies. So it works wonderful on the ZV-E10. As it is paired there quite nicely. Although, as a kit, if you bought it as a kit, you can buy it with the really compact power zoom lens, which is their 16-50 compact power zoom lens. And it is actually criticised by many online as being an unsharp and not a very good lens. I've actually found quite the opposite. I think as a travel lens, as a travel camera, it is really good. And that's the lens there, that's the power zoom 16-50 kit lens. And as you can see, it is really, really compact. The entire weight of that is really light. I'm not sure what it is, but I put in the video what the weight of this combination is. So it makes a great travel camera. Now, the camera itself's got the 3-inch articulating screen. I think we all know that from various reviews. There's been hundreds of reviews online. So I'm not going to go into a lot of detail about its spec. There is one thing I'm going to bring up, though, that nobody else has brought up that I can see, which was a user issue that I found really annoying, but I've overcome it, and I'll show you how I've overcome it. But it's got the 3-inch articulating screen, very traditional now with most cameras. Certainly a new venture for Sony to be putting articulating screens on their cameras. I've got two A7Cs that are filming over there, and I love them because of the well, many reasons actually, but one of the reasons is the articulating screen. But the ZV-E10 has the 3-inch articulating screen. I find it a bit annoying for taking photographs. I've said this before with taking photographs with the A7C, is I prefer the tilty-wilty screen that the A7R III has, the A7 III, many other manufacturers have just the tilty-uppy screen. And I prefer that for when I'm taking photographs either up high or certainly down low. I always feel, I don't know, I always feel conscious that I'm going to knock the screen or damage the screen because of the way it articulates away from the body. But that's just me. For video, awesome, because obviously you can spin it round and then you've got your perfect screen for doing vlogging. And Sony, as they have done with the ZV-E1, they're selling it as a perfect vlogging camera. I don't know why they're selling it, directing it towards vloggers. I would prefer they actually directed it towards content creators. It is a great content creation camera, same as the ZV-E1. I'm using two ZV-E1s today. I'm using one of them here getting the close-up shots of this camera, and I've got one just there getting a wider generic shot of the scene. Of which case I've got another wide-ish shot being picked up on the A7C over there, and my close-up shot is on my other A7C over there with the 85mm lens on. But the A7C here, which is getting a medium wide, is got my 35mm full frame 35mm f1.8 35mm lens on. So that's the ZV-E10 with its articulating screen. Now, it's got very few function buttons, and that can be a little bit annoying as far as setting it up how you would like to set it up for taking photographs or taking video. So basically on the top plate here, you've just got one master control. You've got the well, obviously you've got your on-off switch, which is now a physical switch on the top there for switching it on and off. And you've got basically your video record button on the top. You've got your obviously shutter release button on the top there, and you've got one function button here, and you've got your mode button here. So the mode button will toggle between your different modes. So you've got slow and quick motion, push it again, it takes you into photo mode, and then push it again, takes you into video mode. So you've got the just selecting it via this function button. It hasn't got a PASM dial, so I find that, I did, when I got it, found that really frustrating because I'm so used to having a PASM dial where I can turn the dial to programmed automatic aperture priority, shutter priority, or one of the menu settings, and I found that really quick and intuitive. It's the same as on the RX100 range. They've got a mode dial, a PASM dial, where the ZV-E10 hasn't got a PASM dial. You have to go into the menu to adjust your settings. But what I found, a downside with just having a mode dial, which other people haven't talked about, and I found it frustrating, but I've got around it. I've got a fantastic workaround to that. So if you use your dial, the button here to go into, let's push it. Now that's taken us into S&Q mode, which is great. So that's your slow motion and your quick motion. So that's great. Push it again, and it's now taken us into photo mode. But it's actually selected aperture priority, because in the main menu you have to then select, once you're in aperture priority, so you're taking photographs, but you quickly decide that you need to be in shutter priority because you don't want to get blurred images, so you want to select a faster shutter speed, because this camera hasn't got inbuilt image stabilization, or it hasn't got mechanical image stabilization. It's got electronic image stabilization, but not mechanical image stabilization. It relies on the stabilization in the lens, but some lenses don't have it, particularly if you was using something like the Tamron range of lenses. I know this is a full frame lens, but this is a nice thing with this camera, because it's E-mount, it will take the full frame lenses, such as this 18-75, but you have to take into consideration the 1.5 crop factor. So, you know, it will crop it because it's a crop sensor. It's a cropped sensor. It will crop the image, but you don't need to worry too much about that. You just get a tighter shot. So you can use these. There's no image stabilization. So you might not want it in aperture priority. You might want it in shutter priority. Well, you've got to then fumble around in the menu. So you have to go into the menu, then fumble around to select shutter priority. A real pain in the butt. So I wasn't terribly impressed with that. It's the same now when I go into there and select video. I've now gone into video and it's selected shutter priority. But I might want manual, but I found a really good workaround. And what I've done, I've reprogrammed the button on the top. Now this one here was the not depth from defocus, that's Panasonic. This button here gave you an f1.8 aperture. I don't know what they called it. I can't remember what they called it, but it basically sets the widest aperture, so you get a lovely depth of field, so you get a lovely out of focus background depending on what lenses you're using. Now I can select that by going into aperture priority and select f1.8 or f2.8 or whatever the widest aperture of your lens might be. So I didn't need it set for that. So what I've done, I've pre-programmed, reassigned this button to be the mode button. So now I'm in video, I can push this button on the top here, and now I can select what mode I want, whether it be aperture priority, shutter priority, manual in video. And that works exactly the same in stills. So if I now go back into stills mode, so I'm now in stills mode, as you can see there, one push of this button, and then I can select whether I want aperture priority, shutter priority, programmed automatic, whatever. So I can just scroll through them now and select which setting that I want. So I found that as a great workaround for speed. So it's not actually anywhere near as annoying as I first thought it was going to be. Now, the ZV-E10 has no viewfinder. So it's quite different to the A6000 range, such as the A6000, 6100, 6500, 6600, 6300, whatever. They've all got a small viewfinder, like the A7C on the side. It's like a rangefinder style viewfinder, although it isn't a rangefinder, but it's that kind of style. This has no viewfinder. You're completely reliant on this monitor on the back of the camera. And that's fine and dandy in most cases, but it has two drawbacks with totally reliant on the monitor. Firstly, in bright sunlight, and when I went out and about, we went to a town called Cirencester, not far from where we live, and it was quite bright, and then at times it was quite annoying because I was kind of guessing what the framing was like, because I was having to, you know, I couldn't really see it clearly. Now there is a mode where you can select sunny mode, and that brightens the screen up, but I found it kind of washed it out. So I weren't absolutely sure if the exposure was good. So I tended not to use that. I think for me, it will just be getting used to using a screen as opposed to using a viewfinder. And I don't really see that as a big issue. This will be a B camera for stills as opposed to a main camera. But I'm going to go through some of the image quality. As for plus side of it, the image quality is outstanding. It matches all the other Sony A range of cameras, or the APS-C A range of cameras, because it's using the same 24 megapixel sensor as the A6400, 6500, 6600, etc, etc. So the image quality, you know, is pretty much obvious. It's going to be really, really good. So I've got no complaints there. But the other thing I found with completely reliant on the screen, not only did the screen, you know, was a bit dim in certain locations, but your image stabilization is going to be a slight issue, because when you're using or you're looking for a viewfinder, the fact there's no image stabilization in the body, you're gripping it like that, and you're getting a pretty not rock solid, but you're getting a pretty good hold on the camera because you're holding it like that. You're getting a strong image on the camera, strong image, you know, a strong hold on the camera, so you're going to get a sharper image. Whereby when you're holding it like this, you're always going to get, because your arms are out, you're going to get a bit of a wobble. So all I would say to that is, select a faster shutter speed when you're taking stills if you're using lenses that hasn't got image stabilization, although most of the Sony ones do. For example, the one I've been using, which is the Sony Zeiss 16-70, that one has got image stabilization and it's very good. But if I was to put a lovely lens I love using, the Tamron 20mm full frame lens, so that would be 30mm in APS-C terms, if I stuck that one on, that has got no image stabilization, so I would select a faster shutter speed. That's why I really am pleased I reassigned this function button on the top here, so I can quickly go into shutter speed or aperture priority. So that's basically you know, the gist of taking stills with a ZV-E10. Again, I'm going to go through some of the stills just so you can have a quick look at them. But it's pretty straightforward. You've got your control dial on the back here, so that if you're in shutter priority, that'll adjust for shutter speeds, as you can see there. That's just going to adjust for shutter speeds. If you're in aperture priority, that'll adjust the aperture. I've got this wheel on the back here. I've reassigned it to adjust exposure compensation, and that works both in video as well as in stills. So that is really good. Now, it's interesting, I've been talking a lot about taking stills with this camera. All the other reviewers have been talking about taking video with it, because it is being sold more as a video camera than as a stills camera. But I felt that, well, let's talk a little bit more about stills. But that's pretty much it for stills. Now for video, I'm going to quickly do an overview of the video features of this camera, but I don't think I need to labour on it because, you know, it's pretty standard amongst the Sony range of cameras now. Now, it is like the ZV-E1, it's got no record limit. So that's fantastic. That is great on my Sony A7Cs and my ZV-1s. So I can keep on going and it isn't going to run out. It ain't going to cut out after 30 minutes. Because I do tend to waffle on and make mistakes. Well, for me, that's a Brucey bonus. That is really good. It's got your headphone jacks and mic jacks on the side. And what is really nice, Sony have put both. So they've put your headphone jack on the bottom there. And then on the top here, they've put the mic jack. So that is brilliant. There's a mic jack and headphone jack. Now, it also has got the multi-interface shoe. On the top here, you've got a hot shoe. So you can put in your microphones. It also does come with this little furry wind muff thing that just slots into the shoe, and that protects the microphone from wind noise, the internal microphone from wind noise. And it's got the same microphone setup as what the ZV-E10 has, which is a 3-capsule mic. I can't even say it, 3-capsule microphone. I will go outdoors and do a vlogging test because it is being sold as a vlogging camera. Everyone wants to see what it's like for vlogging. And it's got 2 active modes. Well, it's kind of got 3, but it's got active, no, it's got steady shot and active steady shot. So it's got your standard steady shot, which just uses the image stabilization of the lens if it has it built in, and active steady shot, which introduces electronic stabilization that the camera has. But you can turn you can turn it all off and do the stabilization in Sony's Catalyst browse and do it afterwards. So there's quite a few options for image stabilization. So as I say, there is no record limit, which is fantastic. It records 4K, 1080p, slow motion, and because of the articulating screen, it's a great vlogging camera. The autofocus is phenomenal. We don't need to really go into that. Everyone knows that the IAF is really great on the Sony cameras. Face detect is great. And it also has animal IAF and animal AF, which is also great. Works really, really well. The Sonys are fantastic for their autofocus. It's a nicely built camera. I was expecting it to be a bit plasticky. People are saying it's not that well built. I'm not finding that. I genuinely think it's a nicely made camera. Great value for money. The grip is okay. It's nothing special, but the grip is okay. Because it is a small camera, if you're using small lenses, this grip is phenomenal. I can certainly understand if you're putting bigger lenses on, yeah, this grip isn't going to be so good. I mean, if I stuck on my Tamron full frame lens, the grip is going to be not so good at all. It's going to be very much front heavy. But even then, you can hold it like that. So it's not a big deal, but that's quite nifty with that full frame lens on. Quite like that. But as I say, very much a video camera. You can power it via USB-C. And you can run it via USB-C, and that's exactly what I'm doing with my ZV-E10s. I'm running them off USB blocks because the batteries in them are piddly little batteries. While we're on the subject of batteries, Sony have gone back to using the FW50 battery in this camera, and I can only think the reason being is to keep the size down. So it takes the older FW50 batteries, not the much newer Z100 range, Z range batteries. There's quite a big difference in size between these two batteries. The Z batteries are fantastic. They last forever in my A7Cs, but it does take the older FW50 batteries. That's fine, you know. You can charge the batteries via USB, so that's fine if you're out and about. You know, you can plug it into a car charger or USB block and charge them up. I've got an external charger. I find that easier. But as I say, very, very compact body. As I said, it's got all the video codecs. I mentioned that earlier. So it's got your 1080 codecs, your 4K codecs. And it is a really, really nice video camera. It's a B-roll camera because you don't really need a viewfinder for video. And that's what I love about the ZV-1s. There's a lot of people, including myself, comparing this to the ZV-1 because I think they're both you know, very similar. This has got a larger sensor because it's got an APS-C sensor. So if you're looking for more separation between the subject and the background, the ZV-E10 is definitely a better option. But the ZV-1 is really compact and it has a built-in lens. It's all there. And but it's a 1-inch sensor. So of course you're not going to get the same depth from the background as you will do with the ZV-E10. But yeah, that's pretty much the ZV-E10. I'm going to do a vlogging test in a moment. I'll go outdoors and do a vlogging test so you can actually see what it is like. You know, I'll do it handheld. I might even use, I probably will use the Sony Grip. Now you can buy as an extra this Sony Grip. I can't remember the model number. I'll put it in the video, but that's the Sony Grip. It's a Bluetooth remote control grip, so you can take photographs with it. you can take video with it, and it's got a zoom control, because with some lenses, certainly the kit lens, and there's a few other lenses, this is called a power zoom lens. I'll put the kit lens back on, because what Sony have done, and again I think they've done this for ease of use, maybe for vloggers, maybe for novices, I don't know, but it's got this on the front here. Instead of having an aperture control dial or a control wheel on the front here, it's got a zoom control. So that will actually, like a lot of compact cameras have actually, but that will, with the right lens, zoom the lens in and out. So I'm actually adjusting the lens using the wheel on the front here, and that will zoom the lens in and out. Likewise, on the remote control will, if I can do that, zoom the lens in and out. You can see me probably trying to do this both together, like that, zoom in and out, and then you can take photographs. I'm about to take a photograph. Obviously the idea is this would be fitted underneath a camera. Pretty obvious really. It takes one SD card. The SD card fits underneath where the battery is. I never like that. With the A7C, Sony changed it and put the SD card that slots into the side of the camera. That would be so much nicer, but it's still in with the battery compartment. Right, pain in the butt to get out. You kind of have to not force it out, but it's just fiddly. And particularly if you've got the cameras mounted on a tripod, maybe on a gimbal, even on you know, the grip is a bit of a pain in the butt, but you know, you get around that. But because it has got this multi-interface shoe on the top, you can fit, and I didn't get it out, but I will get it out now. You can fit Sony's range, I don't know where it is. Here it is. So it's got the multi-interface shoe, which is great. So I can fit this microphone. I'll put in the description what this microphone, or in the video, what this microphone is. It's a digital microphone. It'll be analog as well. So with the ZV-E10s, for example, it works, but you've got to have it in analog mode. With this camera, as the same with working it on the A7C, you can use it in digital mode, and it's a direct connection between the camera and the microphone. So there's no cable. You don't have to plug a mic lead in for this microphone to work. It's awesome. And it takes its power from the camera. So when I go and do a vlogging test, I'm going to do two tests. I'm going to do one with this microphone and one with a built-in 3 capsule microphone. So that is very, very nice. You can also plug in the Sony Bluetooth wireless microphones, a whole range of different microphones. Also, their XLR adapter. They've got a K2M XLR adapter, which enables you to plug in XLR microphones effectively. So it's a very, very capable video camera and a very capable stills camera. Now, let's just quickly, using Lightroom, let's just quickly go through, put this back here, you know, what sort of images you can get out of the A7C. Now, these aren't any special images. They're just taken, some are taken in the garden, some I've taken in Cirencester, but you can just see the sharpness. Some of them have been using the kit lens. I don't know which ones are with a kit lens. This is with me 16-50 lens. Oh no, the power zoom lens, the PZ, yeah, the kit lens. So these images were taken with a kit lens. Yeah, and they're absolutely excellent once the camera loads. Once the computer loads the images. Low light is great. It's, as I say, it is the well-respected 24 megapixel sensor that we're all accustomed with. So that's why I'm not going to go into any great detail with these images, because I think we all respect what this sensor can, you know, I mean, look at that. The colours are gorgeous. Now, what we're looking at as absolutely non-edited JPEG files straight out the camera, because Lightroom, as with all the other software, doesn't support the RAW files that this camera produces as yet, because it's literally only just been released. But again, the colours and detail is lovely, and that again, now this is with the Zeiss 16-70 lens. Looking at the information here, so I've taken the power zoom lens off. This is definitely with this 16-70 lens here. Now again, excellent value for money. I got this second hand off eBay for 350 quid, and I can, you know, if you're looking for a great value, high quality lens for your APS-C Sony cameras, I really don't think you can go far wrong with the Zeiss 16-70. That's a flipping nice lens. It's an f4, constant f4, so you know, it could be argued not great in low light, but I'm having no problems with low light. I mean, you look at some of these images here, you know, this is in low light, what, ISO 1250, you know, clean, nice clean images. I haven't edited any of these. Nice clean images, even in the shadows. Look at that, perfect. So I really don't think, because it's an APS-C sensor, it is pretty good in low light. It's certainly better than Micro Four Thirds, but maybe not quite as good as full frame, but still flipping good. You know, very, very good indeed. So what I would suggest, rather than me, you know, spend a lot of time here going through these images, take a look at my Flickr page. I will upload these samples to my Flickr page, and I'll put a link in the description, you know, where you can find that, and have a closer look yourself at the images that come off the ZV-E10. And it'd be a combination of lenses. It'd be primarily the Zeiss 16-70, but there'd be quite a few with the power zoom kit lens, because it is sold as a kit and it's great value as a kit. I didn't buy it as a kit, but it's fantastic value as a kit. So it's well worth going through. I mean, look at the colours, beautiful. And this is absolutely not edited. I can do a lot of work on that, and I can lift the shadows. Well, I don't need to, but I can lift the shadows, bring the highlights down, can do a lot of work on that, particularly once we're able to view the RAW files. These are literally JPEG straight out the camera. So yeah, I can highly recommend the ZV-E10. The handling will take a bit of getting used to. I think it is worth reconfiguring some of the function buttons, and they're all pretty much configurable. So you might want to reconfigure some of the function buttons to your needs. And I'm really pleased I did reassign the function button on the top here, because that was, you know, really, really useful. So there we go. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already done so. It does help me grow the channel, and I really, really appreciate that. I will be doing more videos, obviously, on the ZV-E10. Take a look at the vlog test, see what you think of that. Just a quick vlogging test out in the garden. I'm using the standard 16-50 kit lens, the power zoom kit lens, and I've got the grip on the camera. I've got it in standard stabilization mode and shutter priority, so the camera will adjust the aperture and the exposure. So it's probably a bit wobbly. In standard stabilization, it's completely reliant on the image stabilization built into the lens. So because the camera itself hasn't got, as I said earlier, hasn't got image stabilization per se, it's electronic image stabilization. So that's what it looks like using standard stabilization. Of course, when I go to active stabilization, it'll crop it in tighter. So I'm not so sure I'd want to go much tighter using a 16mm lens. So and also using these microphones, I don't know how good the sound quality is going to be. I will plug in my other microphone. Actually, I'll go back in the house and put my other microphone on before I switch it to active stabilization. So we do two in one, as it were. So that's using, you know, as I say, standard stabilization with its built-in mic. But I do have the wind socket on the top, so the wind muff thing. So it should help to reduce wind noise. I now have it in active stabilization. You can see it's cropped it in quite a bit tighter. So, you know, it's great obviously for stabilization point of view, but you really do need a wider angled lens. That's quite tight now. I've also put on the camera the Sony external microphone using the digital connection with it. Hopefully the sound quality is better. I really do like this mic. It's a great mic, and it's a great combination with the Sony ZV-E10. I mean, it works great on the ZV-1, but you have to use it in analog modes. It doesn't work digitally. But also a great thing is no cables. It's a direct connection between the camera and the microphone through the hot shoe. So and no batteries. So, you know, really good. So we're testing two things here. We're testing the external mic. We're also testing the image stabilization. Using the grip does help. I really do think that does help. I mean, that does look quite a bit stabler. My hand is wobbling quite a bit, and looking at the monitor, that looks pretty stable. It is also nice to have that red framing, red border around the monitor, so you know it is recording, but you do have a red tally light as well, which is fantastic. So, you know, as a content creation camera, I think this is really, really good, and it is, you know, full marks to Sony for it. They are using an older sensor. Would have been nice if they'd put a newer sensor in, but we do know this sensor produces really, really great images. So there we go. That's a quick vlogging test using active stabilization with the Sony PZ 16-50 kit lens. So there we go. That's a quick vlog test of the ZV-E10. I hope you found this video useful. As I said earlier, please subscribe if you haven't already done so. That helps me grow the channel. And hit the like button if you like this video. I really appreciate the comments that I'm getting. And I really appreciate people, you know, watching my videos. Is great. So thanks very much for watching. And stay tuned for more videos relating to video and photography. Cheers for now. Bye.